Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. Here we are, another Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning in London at 1 a.m., 3 a.m. in Israel, and it's 10 a.m. in Tokyo. We want to thank you, all of you, for coming by once again. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live, and this is a show where we relate to you each and every Thursday at this time, and we come along with great conversation. And of course, we'd like to get you involved in the program. Now, you may be in a different time zone than I, because I am Eastern, so you have to act accordingly. Look at your clock right now, and that you can see that whatever time that you're reading right now, that's the time you come on in your area. And so act accordingly and keep that in mind. Anyway, we got a good show for you. We're going to be here for a whole full hour, as we are each week. And as I said, we get everybody involved. For a lot of people who've been around with us for a long time, you already know the score. For you people who are possibly new, well, as the host of the show, I get things started as I'm doing right now. And while I'm doing it at any time, you can get on your keyboard, on your computer, your telephone, your iPad, or even your tablet, right? And type in whatever you want to talk about. I'll see you right there on the big screen. Of course, I'll react to it. And of course, you may have an opinion about something, because that's what it's all about. Free exchange of opinions and ideas. That's what we do on the show. And I must add, too, if there's anything in particular that you want to talk about, could be anything at all. You know, it doesn't have to be what we're talking about. I mean, we're going to talk about what we want to talk about. But if there's something that you want to add into the show, feel free. That's what it's all about. So let's just type it in there. And of course, we'll entertain all of your thoughts and ideas. That's what it's all about. Now, for all of you who are new, we come on 3 different platforms live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're right here. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, that's a good place to watch us. You see everything, right? You got all of those 3. Any one of those 3 can get you right there. So thank you so much for being along with us. And if you're for a first-time viewer of this show, and even if you're not, you already know the score, right? What I want you to do is take time, particularly if you're on Facebook, you're watching us on Facebook, take time to tag your friends. You can do that. Tag this show to your friends right now. What they'll do is they'll see that tag coming from you, and they'll know it's from you. They'll trust you, so they'll click onto that tag, and it brings them directly to us, and they can join in on the conversation. They'll see you, they'll see me, and everybody else that comes in. And you could talk to everyone. You could talk to me. You could talk to everyone that comes in. All right. So that's the way we operate. We have that for you. And those of you who are watching us on YouTube, okay, I always, all the time, encourage you to go onto our YouTube channel. You're right there right now. Click on to subscribe. Just drag your mouse over there, point the arrow where it says subscribe. You can see it right there, right? You can't miss it. Click onto it. And that's all it takes. There's no money involved, no fees, no nothing, nothing that obligates you for any reason. All right. All you have to do is just click onto it. And the reason why we want you to do that, because we want to find out how many people are actually following us and how many people are behind us. That gives us an opportunity to know all about that. Not only that, it benefits you, because now that you have clicked on and now that you are a member, it gives you the opportunity to know that whenever we come on live or any kind of activity on the site, it gives you the opportunity to know that we're on the air. You'll get an instant notification that will pop right up there. And that instant notification will let you know. Now, let's say, for instance, okay, you come back next week and you kind of forgot about the show, but you happen to be online, right? You're already subscribing, right? You'll see that notification and it just reminds you. It's a reminder. And all you have to do is click onto that notification and you're right in there, right? Just as simple as that. So we want you to do that right away. If you haven't done it thus far, please do it right now. And if you've been with us for a long time and you haven't done it yet, oh God, come on. What are you waiting for? You have nothing to lose, okay? Do that right now. We look forward to that. Those of you who are watching us on Instagram, there's no worries. You don't have to do anything particularly special. The only thing that we want you to do is make sure you pass all of the information about us onto your family, friends, and relatives and people that you meet on the street every day, whoever, friendly people, and get them involved too. And remember, when you kind of contact the people that you like and you want them to come along, if they like what they see, if they like what they hear, okay, maybe they'll come back again and again, just like you. Okay, so that's what we got going right now. All right. So there you go. We have all of those 3 platforms for you. Oh, by the way, too, if you on let's say YouTube and Instagram, and we already told the people on Facebook what to do. They could tag their friends, right? Now you could do something similar. All right. All you have to do, whatever platform you are, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, cut and paste that link, right? And send it to all of your friends. It's the link directly to where you are. They'll see it and they'll bring you right to the show. All they have to do is click onto that link and it'll bring you right there. That's just as simple as that. So I guess you can call that a form of tagging as well, right? All right, so do that, and we really would appreciate that. We've got a lot of things to talk about in the show, a whole hour to get it going. A whole hour is not a lot of time, but we'll jam in as much as we can, including you. And we've got a lot of things to talk about. First of all, not too far away in the show, we're going to hear from Brian Camp. Brian Camp coming out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's our sports guy. And he's going to come on with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. And of course, if you're a sports person, you want to keep up with everything, well, he's the man. He'll be here in just a few. Now, those of you who have any questions, sports related, Brian can answer those questions live on the air as you see him. Okay, all you have to do is get your questions ready, and then whatever questions that you have that are sports related, you'll get a chance to talk to him about it. As a matter of fact, you'll see him right on screen. He'll be right here on the screen, right here on Facebook and YouTube. Now, for you guys on Instagram, you're not going to get a chance to see him. We don't have that luxury to bring him out here. However, you'll hear him, and you can still talk to him. You can still type in your questions, and he'll answer all the questions. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. You won't be able to see him on Instagram, but Facebook and YouTube, you'll get a chance to see him, okay? Anyway, clear that up. That's all good. Okay, remember that all of the views and the opinions expressed on this show, Talkback Live, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinions of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, or any other social media outlet or broadcast facility. So we got all of that out of the way. Now, later on in the program, too, we have This Day in History. Now, something happened on this day in history. It did, right? Who knows what it was? A lot of history breaking news, all right? And I have a list of those, a laundry list, as they would put it, for that. And you'll get a chance to see that, right? We'll get a chance to recite all of those for you. That's coming up later on in the program, not too far away. And then later on in the program, before the show is over, I'll have those movies, because you know me, right? I like to go and turn to classic movies each week and check out all of the movies that are out there for the weekend, because the weekend is coming up and you may want to do something, whatever you do. But one of the things that you may want to do is catch up on some old movies. And I just want to add to your bucket list of all of those movies that you would like. They're all classics, right? And I'm pretty sure you're resourceful too. In conjunction with what you normally watch, you could just add these. And I think these movies are worth watching. And I'll bring all of those to you later on in the show. So there you go. Happy Thursday to each and every one of you. I want to say hello to Mary out of Brooklyn, New York. Mary Reed, thank you. Good evening to you. It's evening here because she's in Brooklyn. I'm in New York City. And it may sound strange for you people who live on the other side of the world. It may be morning to you or afternoon or something. So I say good evening. I would say, that's why when I open the show, I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night, right? Because you never know. Also want to say hello to Senior Cigar Kevin Briscoe. Justin, he says, hey Frank, Justin, Dave Sims is the new radio voice of New York Yankees. Dave Sims. Do I know Dave Sims? Yeah, I think I know Dave Sims. Okay, yeah, Dave Sims. Okay, he's a New York voice. Okay, let me ask you something. Does that put Michael K out of the way now? Is that what you're telling me? Michael K is gone? All right. Get back to me on that. He says Dave Sims is the new radio. Oh, that's radio. That's radio, not TV. That's radio voice. All right. So I guess that's the replacement for John Sterling, right? Because they needed a radio guy. I mean, Susan Waldman still there? She's still going to be there too as well. I hope so. I think she would have been a better person to me. But Dave Sims, welcome aboard, Dave Sims, and so that's good. And let's see. So yeah, that's a replacement for John Sterling. All right, and John Sterling, by the way, did a tremendous job. All of his broadcasting career, he did a tremendous job. And he wants to take a break because when it's time to retire, you retire, right? He was the head voice of the Yankees, and you know something? He could have had TV if he really wanted to, but he wanted to stay with radio. That was his thing. Radio was his thing. All of his broadcasting career, radio was his thing. And so I think Michael Kay can thank John Sterling for putting that one, giving him the job. Thank you for the job. Anyway, thank you so much for being along with us. Yeah, Susan should be back. Okay, that's good to know. That's good. Hey, thanks for telling me that. And I'm pretty sure Brian is going to come along and he's going to repeat all of that for you. So for the benefit of the people who will be in a little later on, they'll hear about that too. So that'll be great. Okay, here we are. It seems, it's bizarre, but it seems like this month, we're already in the middle of the month. It's the 14th day of November. We're already in the middle of the month, and it only seemed like we just started, right? And already it's the middle of the month. When you get around 14 and the 15th day, that's the middle of the month, because give or take, you have 30 days plus or so. But in November, you only have 30 days, right? So like we're halfway down the line here. Starting tomorrow is like halfway down there. Figure it out. Do your math. 15 and 15 is what, right? Okay. But listen, for the rest of the month, we're celebrating a few things, and I just want to let that out there. And first thing I want to talk about, we're celebrating this whole entire month, National Native American Heritage Month. Okay, that's very near and dear to me, being a product of a Native American. So I want to put that out there, and I think someone has to say it, right? That's what we're celebrating all month long. And those of you who are partial, have a percentage of the blood too, we want to say hello to you. And by the way, if there are any activities in the Native American community, please feel free to tell us all about it. And one thing I always add every time I say this is that you got to remember, these are the people who settled here first. The rest of us, okay? I mean, we're glad to be here, America the Beautiful, but those were the original settlers here in the United States. So that's what we have. So it's National Native American Heritage Month. So let's keep that in mind. Also, we salute our military guys, right? We always do that, right? This past Monday was Veterans Day, right? And so I just wanted to bring that out there too. But also this entire month is Military Family Month. All right. Along with the veterans, we celebrate for their family too. They get a piece of the action. So all month long, we already had Veterans Day on Monday. For some people, that was a holiday they took off. I think some of the public schools were closed, if I'm not mistaken. At least here in New York, they were. Some people, depending on where you are, they open the schools, they close them. But I think here in New York, they were already closed. But so we continue that all month long, Military Family Month. All right. We also have National Diabetes Month. If you go on the health side, keep that in mind for those of you who are under the umbrella of diabetes or pre-diabetes. You want to make sure you check, be proactive, and check all the time with your doctor, and keep your blood level, your blood sugar down as much as you can. I know all of us go off the rails. I go off the rails all the time. I'm not going to lie to you. I love my Twizzlers. I love chocolate cake. I love brownies. I love all of those things, but I do it in moderation. Every once in a while, I may go overboard, but then I catch myself. I'll say, okay, well, I'm not going to have that for a long time. Lay off of that for a while. The only sugar that I don't use is when I have my coffee. So I use stevia, which is the best, it's a natural sweetener, you know. You could do all of those things, you know. Also, it's National COPD Awareness Month. All right. And that's respiratory, you know. It's a good thing too to lay off the cigarettes for a day because I remember in the month of November they used to have the day have one day where you put away your cigarettes for one day, and then they ask you to do it another day until you quit. But that one day, I haven't heard about it this month so at all. Otherwise, I probably would have announced it here anyway. But you can still do it anyway. You don't have to have anyone to tell you about it, you know. But you already know when it's time for you to quit smoking. But I hope it's not too late. Also, we have National PPSI AIDS Awareness Day. All right, you think that's gone? No, it's still here. It's still here. So we've got that going. Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, we also have that going. And also National Alzheimer's Disease Month. And you can't make this up. This is National Pickle Day. And so when I think about pickles, I think about cheeseburgers and all of those, and a great sandwich, a nice deli sandwich with rye bread and corned beef and all of that stuff. They used to have places where you can go, events for National Pickle Day. He used to be that. They used to have those events. Maybe they still do. I don't know. Anyway, quickly, well, I'll tell you, you know, I'm gonna get to the other stuff later, all right? Because we're going along a little quick. But first I want to say that Tony Todd, the actor best known for playing the Candyman in Clive Baker's horror movies, died last Wednesday, November 6th, at his home in Marina del Rey, California. Todd's career spanned 40 years, and in total, he had over 240 movies and TV credits to his name. Todd began his career in the 1980s when he appeared on popular TV shows such as Simon and Simon and 21 Jump Street. There was no cause of death at this particular time. He was 69 years old. Judith Jamison, an internationally acclaimed dancer who later served as artistic director of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater for 2 decades, has died. Jamison died last Saturday after a brief illness in New York, surrounded by friends. Jamison grew up in Philadelphia and trained there in ballet from her younger years. And at the time when Black dancers were rare in ballet, she began with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in 1965. She was 81 years old. It's time to get going right now. And as I promised you early, and I always try to keep my promises, but this is part of the show anyway. Brian Camp with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. Again, if you have any questions on the horizon and you want Brian to answer them, if they're sports related, he has the answers for them. And he will be glad to give you those answers. And you'll do it right away. So bring them on, he says, and we're going to bring him on right here. Welcome, 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 and a happy belated, I guess I can say a belated Tuesday, because we weren't on the air, so we didn't get a chance to acknowledge.
Okay. Yes, good evening to you all out there who's out there listening around the world, nationally and locally.
Yes, good evening.
Coming live from the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, where it was a brutal, dreary day, rain and cold. It's 40. You see, I still got my hoodie on. It's 49 degrees as we speak in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the type of weather where I could sleep all day. Rain and cold. Yes, rain and snow and cold. If I don't have to go anywhere, I will not. I was at my workplace and I dozed off because it was raining. It was cold. So, but I made it through the day. But it was a dreary day. But we made it through the day, so we're here right now. So, I want to say good evening to you all out there again, and I want to thank Kevin for bringing that breaking news. But it wasn't so much breaking news. It was announced today, early today. I believe Dave Sims used to work at WABC, I believe, too. I know he worked at WFAN for a stint. He had his own show there. But yes, he will be the new voice of the radio side of New York Yankee baseball. So congratulations to him. John Sterling was in retirement this season. He retired early part of the season, but he kept on coming back for a cameo appearance just to call games. I guess he wanted to really try to get it out of his system, but he is now officially retired. Who knows? John Sterling can do anything he wants. He's that New York legendary where if he wants to come in for like a cameo as a guest and call a game, call one inning or so, he can do that. If you know John Sterling, he's been in this business for a very long time. When I was a kid, he used to call ABA games with the New York Nets and the New York Islanders with his famous um goal when the Islanders score a goal, he go Islander goal, Islander goal, and then with the Nets it was like when they were about to win the ABA championship, he was telling them on the play-by-play, he said, give it to Julius, give it to Julius Irvin, of course. So John Sterling was very creative, theatrical. If you ever listen to him, you know, very rarely did he wanted to come on TV. He left New York for a short stint, went to Atlanta, became the voice of the Hawks, and became, Atlanta Hawks, and he was just and the Braves too. So, he's been around for a long time, came back to New York, and he's is legendary. He, is legendary. So hope that he enjoys his retirement, or whenever he decides to make a cameo appearance, he will do that. So, but as far as I know, Susan Wallman will probably remain on to share the duties with Dave Sims if the Yankees do so. But things can change. Well, that boxing match is about to start. Mike Tyson prepares to compete in his first professional boxing match nearly 2 decades against YouTuber turned prize fighter Jake Paul. The 50-year-old, the 58, he's 58. Mike Tyson's 58, wants to remind the world that he was the baddest man on the planet. And you know what? At one time he was. So this fight starts tomorrow night at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, and will be live streamed on Netflix. Fight gonna start around 8 o'clock. So get ready. I'm not gonna tell you, what to watch, what not to watch, but if you love sports, Mike Tyson's predicting that you will see the old Mike Tyson. So if you're gonna get your coffee, your popcorn, or what, you better get it around 7:30, because you don't know if you know what I know about Mike Tyson. One punch and lights out. But then again, we don't know. He's been away for 2 decades, and Jake Paul has been fighting too. So we'll see what happens and everything. That's another breaking news. Jake, across the face. Yeah, they just that's the ESPN breaking news thing. So that's just reminding us about the fight for tomorrow. So we all set. This day in sports, November 14th, 1957, Milwaukee Braves Hank Aaron wins National League MVP. 1973, Jim Palmer is named American League Cy Young Award winner. 1981, Wilfredo Benitez and Carlos Santos are the first Puerto Rican boxers to fight for a world championship fight. That happened in 1981. They had a lot of good fighters back then. 1986, Double Publishing sells New York Mets to Nelson Doubleday and Fred Wilpon. 1991, Pittsburgh Steelers guard Terry Long loses appeal and is suspended for 4 weeks by the NFL. And in 1993, Don Shula becomes the coach with the most wins in National Football League history, as he still holds that title today. He has the most wins as a coach. That might be broken maybe by next year. Bill Belichick, supposed to be coming out of retirement. It's only like maybe 11 wins or so behind the great Don Shula. Birthdays today, 1951, 54. Willie Hernandez, Puerto Rican relief pitcher, World Series champion, American League MVP, and Cy Young Award winner, was born in Otago, Puerto Rico. Happy birthday to Jack Sikma, NBA center for the Seattle Supersonics and the Milwaukee Bucks, was born in Kankakee, Illinois. Happy birthday, 1966, Kurt Schilling, Major League Baseball pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks, was born in Anchorage, Arkansas. And I take that back, Alaska, sorry. 1970, Dana Stubblefield, NFL defensive tackle, Super Bowl champion, defensive player of the year, was born in Cleves, Ohio. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports on a short week of news and sports. There is an NFL football game coming on now, but we're going to watch that after show. We're going to stay with the show.
Yeah, which probably is going to be a broadcast on, what is it, Prime? Is it Prime? Or is it
Thursday is Prime, yeah. Mondays is ESPN. Thursdays is Prime. And some Sundays it's back to NFL, but sometimes in Europe.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right. So, since we talked about John Sterling, you're right. John Sterling goes back a long way. A long way. I can remember listening to him. He had a sports show in New York on radio WMCA at that time, and I think this was before he was doing the Yankee games. He was doing Islander games, I think, but I don't think he was doing Yankee games at that time. This was back like in the maybe the early 70s or so.
He was doing ABA games. He was doing the New York Nets.
Yeah.
New York Islanders hockey.
Yeah. I remember the ABA games too, but that didn't last too long.
No, that didn't. In fact, the league only lasted, I believe it was 8 to 9 seasons from late 60s to the mid 70s. 1976 was the last season for the ABA. Yeah.
I remember I went to one ABA game and we got in there for free because we knew one of the players when I was a kid, right? You probably remember he taught in elementary school. Mr. Whitney was his name. He was like 6. Wow, he was tall. He was way over, I don't know, I guess about 6'8", something like that. Anyway, he played ABA ball, and he invited us to come out to see him. So they chartered a bus and took all of the neighborhood kids out there to see him play. And when the basketballs at that time were what, red and white, or was
red, white, and blue?
Yeah, they were red, white, and blue basketballs. Yeah, that was my first and only ABA game I attended. It was fun. It was an experience to see at the time. But all of those good things that they used to have in sports, they no longer have. They're gone, because I remember Madison Square Garden is the mecca of sports.
Yes,
they had a couple of things. And I remember when they had Felt Forum. Remember Felt Forum?
Felt Forum, yeah. I used to call it the little part of Madison Square Garden. Felt Forum, that's where they used to have those wrestling matches at.
Yeah. And they did concerts too. I remember
concerts, yeah.
Yeah, right. Boy. All of those things, they were good things though, But John Sterling, he's I don't think broadcasting is out of his blood yet, because what is he, about 83, 84 years old?
Something like that. He was, after he officially retired, the early part of the baseball season, what happened was, they had John Sterling Day.
Yeah.
And he came on to both. He came on to the TV side and to the radio side.
Yeah.
So on his day retirement, Michael Kay was like talking to him, this is between, and during the game, because whenever they have a guest, they have them on, and so Michael Kay was doing, was asking the question, and during the pitch, Michael Kay would say, is swung on and it was a ground ball to short and such and such, such and such. Next batter, while they were talking, John Sterling was answering the question, and then he just went right in sync, right, and started doing the play-by-play. So he didn't miss a beat, even though he's officially retired. It's in his blood. So they asked him, well, what are you going to do? He said, well, I'm going to watch games. I'm going to watch you guys and listen to you guys and everything. And I'm going to come to some of the games, you know. So it's in his blood, you know. Radio's in his blood, you know. Play by play alone is in his blood.
Kevin Briscoe just said hopefully he'll be continuing to continue the Yankeeography, which I think he will. I think he'll still do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's not, I don't think Yankeeography is something that he records. So I don't think that's anything that he has to say, oh, I have to be there at a certain time. He could say, be as powerful as he is, he could probably say, I'll be there when I get there, you know, that kind of situation. But I think he'll continue to do it.
I'm pretty sure that you just said earlier that Michael Kay must owe John Sterling big time, because if John Sterling wanted to go on the TV side, he could have went on the TV side a long time ago, back in the 70s, back in the when he left New York to go to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, to call the Hawks games. He was doing the radio even back then in Atlanta. So, you know, once, you know, sometimes he'll make an appearance on the TV side, but his comfort zone was doing radio.
Yeah.
And I think John Sterling, without John Sterling, I don't think Michael Kay would be where he's at, because this was Michael Kay's dream job.
Yeah.
Being a Yankee
as a
TV play-by-play. So, and I've heard him over the years. Michael Kay is like really praise John Sterling for you know giving him opportunity. So, pretty sure, you know.
Yeah, because he was, I would have loved to see him on TV. I remember Susan Waldman did TV at one particular point. She did radio and TV. Remember the old days when the announcers, they used to do TV, and then after about 4 innings or so, they switch off the radio?
The Mets were good for that.
Yeah, the Yankees,
Bob Murphy, Lindsey Nelson, and Ralph Kiner, when they used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Yankees did it too. But Phil Rizzuto, I think Phil Rizzuto might have done radio, but he was primary TV. You know, he was their ace guy back then, primary.
They did the same thing. Rizzuto, Frank Messer, and Bill White.
Yeah.
Well, they all took turns, yes.
Yeah.
It was a 3-man team. Now it's just a 2-man team, you know, except for one person. Kevin, help me out. What's the guy who recently for the Dodgers? He worked alone. Vince Scully.
Oh, Vince Scully. Okay.
Vince Scully did not have anybody working with him. He worked alone. For all these years, he did not have a play-by-play guy. You know, I mean, a guy that like an analyst. He always just he did the games all by himself. For somebody to do that is amazing, because you working alone, 9-inning games. How much can you talk? I mean, you do need like an analyst to, you know, to come in and just say something. But
yeah, I couldn't get that either, man. I mean, look, you know, you do a 4-hour radio show, right?
Yeah.
That's a challenge, but you know, if you're playing records or things like that, that's a challenge. But then it's not as strenuous as if you were doing 9 innings of baseball, because you're constantly talking, and the only breaks that you're going to get are commercial breaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
exactly.
You know, kudos to Vince Scully. You know that he did something like that. You know,
all those years. But I think for me, growing up, are the two most announcers that I loved about most is John Sterling and Marv Albert. Those are the two icons. You know, Marv Albert started as a boy, as a basketball boy, for the New York Knicks. And, you know, he's another legend that retired a couple of years back. So
I grew up with Mel Allen. How about that? Mel Allen. I grew up with him. And how about I used to always hear him. He says, "How about that? Open up a can of Ballantine and watch the Yankees," because the time beer used to sponsor the Yankees years ago. Uh,
That's right.
yeah, they said how open up a Valentine and watch the game. But yeah, I grew up with him, Mel Allen, Red Barber, Jerry Coleman. Jerry Coleman played for the Yankees before he went to the announcer's booth, and then Phil Rizzuto came along. But Phil
That's right.
Rizzuto was with the Yankees. I think might have been before Coleman. I'm not sure.
I know that Phil Rizzuto was partnered with Mel Allen during the early '60s when
Okay.
Roger Maris and
Yeah,
Mickey Mantle was going back and forth with that home run
yeah,
uh, record-breaking year.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, so them two I know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, those are classic announcers. They don't make them like that anymore. And what they did, they concentrate on the game. They didn't do a lot of talking back then. But times changed now. You could chat a little bit in between pitches and things like that. Uh,
Yeah.
but back in those days, they focused on the game. It was like strictly play by play, no, nothing else. Nothing
Mhm.
else. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
So what we're looking for tomorrow.
I'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Be able to come on regular time.
Enough.
And yeah.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so we'll see you then. And I guess
One more thing, I forgot to mention, which escaped me. Missed to report the New York Marathon. How could I have missed that?
that's right. I was going to ask you about that.
I totally forgot about it. And that's the same. I didn't. And that's always the same exact weekend when the clocks go
Yeah.
forward and everything, or backwards. Whatever it was. But I missed that. I missed that.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, if you knew any, because I didn't see it. That Sunday come around, I try to stay hibernated on Sunday because I don't want to go out there in front of that crowd. New York City, man, they're coming out of Brooklyn into New York, and you didn't want to get into one of those places where the race was actually taking place because it was crowded that day.
Yep, sure was. Well,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Well, we missed it. Maybe next year.
maybe next year. Yep.
Okay, we'll catch you back here tomorrow morning then.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Take care. Okay, that's Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. Glad to have him here. He's going to be here tomorrow on the coffee hour tomorrow morning. I'll tell you more about that later when we get along with that. And just in case you're just joining us, name of the show is called Talk Back Live. We're going to be with you for the balance of the hour. And those of you who have friends that you didn't tag them yet, particularly you guys on Facebook, tag your friends. We only have a few minutes in the show. And, let them experience a little bit of it. If they like what they see, if they like what they hear, fine. That would be great. Kevin Briscoe also mentioned the fact while I was rambling along in the beginning of the show talking about the health thing, he mentioned the fact that New York City had a kidney walk that happened this past Sunday. So I wasn't aware of that, but Kevin, thanks for telling us that. I really appreciate that. So there was a kidney walk, New York City kidney walk. Where does that take place? Does that take place the same thing as the marathon coming out of Brooklyn into New York, or I don't know? But yeah, they have a lot of those things that benefit to raise money and things like that. So that's very important. Thanks for bringing that up to me. And yes, Coleman went on to do the Padres game. I didn't know that. I thought, after he left the Yankees, I thought he just finished that. I didn't know that. See, I don't know everything. I'm a Yankee fan, but I didn't know that. But I never followed the Padres anyway, But you're a better guy than I am, Kevin. I I didn't know Jerry Coleman. So again, you're just watching us, tuning in. Thanks for doing so. And Foley Square over Foley Square over the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, Foley Square, that's downtown Manhattan. Those of you who are watching that may be from someplace else, you don't know anything about New York. In New York City, we have a downtown. That's where all the courts are. All the criminal courts and Supreme Courts, all of them are down there in that area. That's Court Row. And you got Foley Square over there. I ought to know. I was just there not too long ago. No, not in the court. I wasn't arrested or anything. I had to check in for jury duty. That's the only time you'll see me in a court. Courts make me nervous. So yeah, I was there. I went there last week, I think, or the week before, right? Went on for jury duty. I kind of kept that as a hush hush because I didn't know how long they want to keep me there. You know, they brought me in, and I only spent a day, and they said, "Okay, go home. You're finished." I'm there early in the morning, and 3 o'clock, we're sitting there reading books on the computer, doing this and doing that. We break for lunch, go to lunch, come back, sit there, nothing happening. Okay. They said you could go home. We don't need you anymore. Bye-bye. See you in 4 years. And they say see you in 4 years, but it's usually longer than that. They don't bring you back exactly 4 years, Yeah, sometimes maybe, I don't know. Anyway, that was my experience there, and I'm finished with that for right now. Anyway, we're going to be here for the balance of the hour. And so I think it's about that time, as a matter of fact. I don't want to skip it. It's that time. All right. It's that time to go back in time on this day in history. And on this day in history in 1935, FDR proclaims Philippine Islands as a free Commonwealth. On this day in history in 1953, WCIA TV, Channel 3 in Champaign, Illinois. That's a CBS station. It was start their broadcasting at that time. On this day in history in 1960, Ray Charles' singer Georgia on My Mind reaches #1. On this day in history, 1968, National Turn In Your Draft Card Day features draft card burning. Oh, how well I remember that. And I still have my draft card. I still have it. I still have my draft card. Okay, that same year, 1968, Yale University announced it is going co-educational. On this day in history, 1976, Network, starring Faye Dunaway, Peter Finch, and William Holden, premieres in Los Angeles and New York, and Finch won the Academy Awards Best Actor for 1977. Back in 1991, Michael Jackson's Black or White music video premieres simultaneously in 27 countries on MTV, Fox TV, and BBC's Top of the Pops. Back in 1996, the musical Chicago opens at the Richard Rodgers Theater in New York City. In 2008, Elizabeth Warren is appointed to chair a congressional oversight panel for the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act. Okay. Composer Aaron Copland was born on this day in 1900. He was born in Brooklyn, New York. I never met him. Okay, and he died December 2nd, 1990, at the age of 90 years old from Alzheimer's disease and respiratory failure. On this day in history in 1904, actor Dick Powell was born in Mountain View, Arkansas, and he died in 1963. In 1910, actress Rosemary DeCamp was born in Prescott, Arizona, and she died 2001. In 1912, Barbara Hutton, who was an heiress of the Woolworth fortune, was born in New York City, and she died in 1979. King Charles III was born on this day in 1948. We say happy birthday to him. He's 76 years old. He was born in London, England. And U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice was born on this day in 1954 in Birmingham, Alabama. She's 70 years old today. In 1964, rapper Joseph Simmons from Run DMC was born in New York City. He's 60 years old today. In 1951, American swing musician Louis Jordan weds dancer Vicky Hayes. In 1965, singer and actress Judy Garland weds actor Mark Herron, and they got divorced in 1969. In 1996, Michael Jackson weds dermatology assistant Debbie Rowe in Sydney, Australia. They got divorced in 1999. In 1998, Dennis Rodman weds actress Carmen Electra. I remember that in Las Vegas. That was a quickie wedding, and then the next day, he didn't know what he was doing, I guess. I don't know. In 1983, Composer Andrew Lloyd Webber divorces Sarah Huggo after 11 years of marriage. And finally, Booker T. Washington died on this day in 1915 at the age of 59 years old. He was born April 5th, 1856, and he was born in Halesford, Virginia. So there you go. That's what's happening on this day in history. That's what's happening on this day in history. Now, those of you who want to get in touch with me, please feel free. All right. I always ask you, if you want to talk to me online here, that's good. I always appreciate that because I like to get to know you too, But if you prefer to get in touch with me personally, you can do that. I have two sources you can do that. I have an email address and a telephone number as well. All right. So I'll give you the email address first. The email address is Frank Allan Prod. Allan is spelled Allan. Prod is PROD. And that's short for productions. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. The telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. Now, if you want to get in touch with me for any reason at all, even if it's just to say hello, we don't mind that. We would love that. And of course, we read everything. We listen to all of your messages. You can leave a message 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a week. And maybe you have aspirations of giving us information on how, maybe not how to conduct the show, but maybe you have ideas about the show, something that we should implement in the show. You can do that. Some of the people want to do that right now. You can do it right now. I'm reading everything right now as they come up, and things like that, anything like that. You have a bar mitzvah coming up, your birthday coming up, anything, you want us to announce it right here on the show, anything. Of course, we're open to that, right? So keep that in mind. And also keep all of that information with you, all right? Particularly in your electronic devices, like your cell phone, your computers, your pads, and your tablets, and all of those things where you're going to carry those things wherever you go, especially the cell phones, right? You're going to carry those things everywhere you go. And so all you have to do is just go right into it when you need it, and it's right there for you. So let me give you that email address once again. It's frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. The telephone number, once again, is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. Usually at the top of the show, I always talk about your flu shots and your COVID shots. I didn't get a chance to do it because I was running out of time and I didn't want to horn in on Brian's time. So I'm saving it and I'm doing it right now. I want to remind you that you can get your flu shots and your COVID shots. All right. The updated COVID-19 shot is available. The flu shots are available. It was available, at least the flu shot was available at the tail end of August and the beginning of September. And the COVID-19 shot just came in right after that. But they're both available. And guess what? You can get both shots at the same time in the same arm. You could do that. They say it's safe and you can go there and do that. And all you have to do is make your appointment, right? Wherever your pharmacist, make the appointment. You can do it. I guess you can make the appointment in person. I don't know if you can do it in person, but they do have a website. Most pharmacists have a website. They'll, tell you where to go and you can make the appointment there. Now, if you don't want to take both shots at the same time, you can take one at one time and one at another time, right? All right. Like maybe the flu shot 1 week and maybe 2 weeks later down the road, take the COVID shot. But you know something? Take it as soon as possible. This is the season. The weather's getting cold. As the weather gets cold, spikes come up for COVID-19. The virus is still here. It's not going anywhere. All right. So each year, it's just like the flu. We're going to get the shots, right? And again, you can take them both at the same time. So see your pharmacist today. Check them out. Let them know that you want to do that. And when you make the appointment, keep the appointment. Get it out of the way and get it out of the way quick. And if you have time, why don't you do it tomorrow? As a matter of fact, when we get off the air, go on your computer and make your appointment now. If you know your pharmacist site, if you know their site, you just log on to them and make the appointment. And that's all it takes. You know, you can do it from home. And then when you make the appointment, you know, follow up on it. That's all it takes. All right. So it's the flu and COVID-19 shots. Take your shots now. We're coming up to an administration where we don't know if we're going to get these shots anymore because Bobby Kennedy Jr. is going to be taking care of the health thing. I don't want to talk anymore about that anyway. I saw that all day and it's crazy and I'd rather not talk about it. But I'm just concerned about you. Get those shots today and they're very important. You can do that. You know something, I wanted to talk about social media a little bit, and all of us, and I mean all of us, even watching this show, we get involved in social media, and there's a lot of platforms out there, and you're on one of them right now. You could be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. They have all kinds of places where you know you can type in and you can talk to friends, and you see these shows, like a show like this. And a lot of shows like this come on Facebook. My show is not the only one that comes on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. There are a lot of shows, a lot of platforms that they come out, and I watch some of the other shows too. What I'm bothered about though, I'm wondering whatever happened to social media, because what I'm bothered about now is what I see on social media today, which I don't really spend a lot of time on social media like I used to, only for the show. And maybe I post something, I'll post the time of the show when it comes on, and you know, things like that. But I don't get involved in conversation anymore with others because I see that there's a lot of things going on that I'm not really satisfied with. For instance, today, I don't know if you picked up on this, but today I discovered that they had on YouTube, they had said, "Rest in peace." Rest in peace, and it was something that I couldn't believe. It was rest in peace, Julie Andrews, singer actress Julie Andrews. Rest in peace. From 1934, I think it was 1934 when she was born, to 2024. What does that mean? She's dead, you know? There's no truth to that rumor. She is very much alive, folks. I don't know if you picked up on that, but they had that. So I went on YouTube and I looked at that video, and it didn't even mention anything about her, you know, about her being dead or anything. So knowing me, you know, whenever I find out something like that, whenever I hear something in the air like that, I immediately research it. I go to other reliable sources like CNN and the New York Times and all of these other reputable media outlets. I go to them and see what they know. There was nothing mentioned. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's one of the things I don't like about the social media thing. And then you have a lot of conspiracy theories, right? For instance, you've heard, and you've heard it so many times, which it never came to pass, that that so and so. I'm trying to think of her name right now because she really irks me real bad. Let me see if I can remember her name. You know, that's how much I really don't like her too much. I can't even remember her name. Candace Owens. You know, I have no love for this girl. Probably, and vice versa, you know, so it doesn't matter to me. I sleep well at night anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you've heard the stories lots of times that she was going to take over Whoopi Goldberg's slot on The View. You know, you kept seeing that. I kept seeing that. And then I saw another one. She was going to get together with Megyn Kelly and do a show on, I think it's NBC, a morning show at NBC to compete with The View. That never happened, you know? And so you get all of these things going on. Remember when Donald Trump and Kamala Harris had the debate? Remember that? I think it was that debate. And at the end of the debate, you saw it on social media. David Muir was going to get fired. You know? So, you know, you wonder what happened to social media, where it's supposed to be a platform where you could actually get involved and talk. You know, I get my news from social media, you know, but I'm very wise And I think you should be too, to what is real and what is not real. You know, a lot of fake things out there. And so be very careful on what you put out there. I mean, I've had people tell me, you know, oh, so-and-so died, Dionne Warwick died, Ellen DeGeneres died, and they all died. And they're all walking around. How is that possible? Social media. Here's one thing that's possible, and this is real, all right? This is real. Those movies that I have for you, those movies that I go each week on Turner Classic Movies, and I do this each week, right? Because I know the weekend is coming up. You're going to get involved in the weekend, of course, right? You do whatever you do on the weekends, but one of the things that you may want to do is catch up on some movies, great movies, and I have some right now that I want to relate to you. And this week, I have 4 movies, 4 great movies I think you'll like. And so I'm going to get started with that right now. Here's one that goes back to 1953, one of my favorite. I used to be scared as hell when I used to see this movie as a kid. But then I was a kid then, so you know I couldn't understand. I was a little wuss when it came to science fiction movies. You know, Frankenstein scared me, and Frankenstein was a friendly monster to the girl. You know, until later on he killed her. But listen, I digress. Anyway, this movie from 1953 called Invaders from Mars, and this is the original one from 1953. They made 2. They did a remake, but this is the original one from 1953, and it starred Helena Carter, Arthur France, and Jimmy Hunt. That's the little boy that played in that movie, and that man is still alive today. Jimmy Hunt is alive today. Yeah. So anyway, that's on Turner Classic Movies, and you can check that out. That's Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's right there on Turner Classic Movies. It's a great movie. You know, I don't want to give it away, but you heard me talk about it a lot. Invaders from Mars. It's a great movie. Okay, here's another horror movie from 1963. This is called Children of the Dam, and it stars Ian Hendry, Allan Badel, and Barbara Ferris. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. That's Saturday at 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, if, of course, you're not up, you don't have insomnia. If you have insomnia, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But anyway, if you're up, you could watch it. If not, you know, DVR it and watch it later on. Children of the Dam. And, oh, my all-time favorite from 1960, Psycho. Psycho. When I say Psycho, I think about a certain person, but I'm not going to go there. That's Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, and Vera Miles. Turner Classic Movie at Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, that's a great time to watch horror movies. It's Saturday night. Psycho, so check it out. Oh, here's another one that's a good one. This is one of these whodunit kind of movies. It's called DOA. And this is from 1949 with Edmund O'Brien, Pamela Britton, and Luther Adler. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. You can check it out at Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Eastern. Okay, maybe you're off to church, but DVR it and watch it when you get back from church, right? That's Sunday, right? 11:45 a.m. And it's all Eastern. Now, you go to Turner Classic Movies because you may find a movie or two that you may like that I didn't mention, not because I don't like them, but I just figure these are my picks of the week. And that's why even when I do my picks of the week, I send you over to Turner Classic Movies so you can check out more and see what's available that you may like. You want to put it on your bucket list, you can do that as well, right? Also, when you're there on demand, you'll have a lot of great free movies where they're freebies, and you got a lot of them. Free movies, you have the pay-per-view movies that are in the theater now, movies that were in the theater recently, the pay-per-view. You have a lot of great sporting events there. You could watch them. If you missed them in real time, you could watch them later on, okay? And the following day, you can go on demand and watch it. And then you got children's program documentaries, the whole 9 yards. So there you have all of that. You're very resourceful and you can find these things. So let me give you these movies one more time. Invaders from Mars, Helena Carter, Arthur France, Jimmy Hunt, Turner Classic Movies, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Children of the Dam. That's Ian Hendry, Allan Badel, and Barbara Ferris, and that's Turner Classic Movies. That's Saturday at 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Psycho, Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, and Vera Miles. That's Turner Classic Movies. That's Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And DOA with Edmund O'Brien, Pamela Britton, and Luther Adler, Turner Classic Movies Sunday at 11:45 Eastern. Okay, that's in the AM. That's going to wrap it up for me, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to go, but I will be back here tomorrow morning. I hope that you will be back here with me tomorrow morning because we have the coffee hour. Brian Camp is going to be with me with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. And we'll be looking forward to that. And then you can meet me back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of Talk Back Live with me, Brian Camp, in sports. And we look forward to seeing you then. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant good night.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.